I can't hear that.
Yeah,
No.
Scott, you're not doing it, dude. You're just moving your fingers, you liar.
Bro, listen to this. Listen back, dude. A million
Dude,
snaps.
I'll find
Dude.
out tomorrow.
Yeah, dude, that's not the case, dog.
That'd be insane.
You're just like twirling imaginary.
fucking
balls.
doing
Doing magic, dude?
what the fuck? Look, I'm snapping.
Oh,
I'm
my God,
snapping.
Oh,
Bro,
fuck.
don't even say I'm not snapping, dude.
So stupid. Ugh, you're gonna make me die.
Sparks are
I
flying
think
out.
that should be the intro.
The Joystick Show. The Joystick Show.
How's it, Sticklers? The Joystick Show is back to talk story about things we've read, watched, or played. Shakas and Mahals for sticking around. If you fancy what you hear, please like and subscribe on the platform you frequent. I'm your co-host Drake. That's Thomas.
What up? What up?
And that's Scott.
How's it?
And welcome to episode 133 of the Joystick Show. Scott, could you give all of our guests, viewers, and listeners a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today night?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, so we have some trailers to hit up. We got about 3 trailers. Acolyte,
What?
new trailer dropped. It's called the Acolyte.
Oh, sick.
Acolyte. Acolyte. You can say it however you want.
I don't think you can. I think there's a right way to say
I think
it.
that's how this word is. You can just say it every which way. Tomato,
Oh, okay.
tomato.
Cool.
The
Yeah.
Crow Reboot. got that
Okay.
coming up. Furiosa.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all the trailers. And we got some news we're hitting up. You'll hear that when we get there. And then we got some reviews.
Because it's not news if you already say it. All right.
Yeah, if I say the headline, you know the news. So just wait.
Yeah.
And then we got some reviews. We got some Ricky Stanicky, Invincible Part 2, Episode 5. It's back, baby. We got Shogun, the newest episode, or wherever we are at the moment. And then we
5.
got some Spaceman and
Ooh.
Damsel.
Damn.
Pretty loaded episode. So make sure you tune in for all of it.
Do it.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh my god. All right, so acolyte, acolyte, however you want to say it, according to Scott. We watched it today. It dropped today. Drake and I got to do a quick. I'm calling it the quick shtick reactions.
Oh, quick
So yeah, whatever.
I like that.
Yeah.
You do?
It's catchy.
Oh, okay. Well, we did a quick shtick reaction for the
I don't like it
acolyte.
anymore. I like it.
I give it a good but not good.
Yeah, we got close. We got close. But we did a great reaction to it earlier. That's on YouTube now. Scott, we didn't get to hear from you. Were you able to watch this trailer?
I was, and it looks awesome.
You was?
I was able to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I did watch it. Yeah.
Okay,
It looks
cool.
good.
Them
Yeah.
eyes be wilded. This guy's wilded tonight.
Whoa.
Oh, holy-
Not eye blocking.
yeah.
Yeah. I was about to snap just now, but it wouldn't have made sense. So
With
yeah,
your fingers?
now I got
Or just like psychotic.
for the people at home, they can't hear me snap in the Zoom,
But he's
you'll
not
hear it when
snapping.
you listen to it.
You won't.
They don't believe I'm snapping, but I
Because he's
am.
not.
Yeah.
I
Tell
am.
us about what you thought about the Acolyte.
No,
Scott.
Acolyte. It was
Yeah.
it was cool. A lot of different color lightsabers. Pretty awesome. I don't
Put
know.
on.
Okay.
You guys probably did a much better like breakdown of the history and where it takes place in the timeline and like I don't
Yeah.
know
100
as
to
much
200
as you
years
guys.
before the prequels.
Yeah, I just know it's like in the past and you know the younglings.
Yes.
Not all of them are gonna make it. That is for sure. But we see them training. We see a Sith red lightsaber like mowing down some trees,
Mowing
So
him
we
down.
mowing them down.
Oh, wow.
And then
World
like
War Z callback.
yeah, and then you see like a line of Jedi's like different like colors, and then they all get blown back by like Sith air push. It was pretty awesome. So
Sith air puss?
push,
Oh, push.
Oh.
Push.
get your mind out of the guard.
I'm
Whoa.
sorry. You're saying all kind of things weird today.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Silly. Overall, it was a cool trailer. I want to check it out when it comes out for sure.
June
It
4th.
what was that?
June 4th?
June 4th. It's awesome.
I think that's what it comes out, right?
What are we
Is that
doing?
what- 'cause-
What are we doing?
I don't know.
What
What
are
are
we
we doing?
doing?
Sorry.
I feel like this is just one giant bit already, but yeah, it looks incredible. Again, we
Yeah.
got something on YouTube. Man, we've already said it. The cast, I think, is the greatest thing. I feel like for me in the trailer, and also like the set. We learned a new word today, Drake. What was it?
It was scenography.
Scenography. That's
Yup.
right. And so I think the scenography of it all is really cool, where it's like the set, the costuming, the whole look of it all looks really dope. Man, I just like, I knew it was gonna be good because I saw a leak on Reddit. Shout out to Reddit. Drake knows. And,
I know.
but I saw a leak like a couple months back, and I was like, damn, this looks really good. I saw some yellow lightsabers, but I wasn't prepared for how good this trailer was gonna be. And like the talent in it, it's like Lee J Parker, late J Jung, I think,
Lee
from Squid
Jung-jae.
Games. Lee Jung Jae. He's like, dude, he's so good in it already. From like the little
Yeah.
bit I've seen, I'm just seeing how like confident, and stoic, and like he just really comes across as a Jedi master to me. I'm stoked about that. Carrie Ann Moss, I want to say.
Yep.
She's a beast. And then they have like low key just throwing it in there, like Daphne Keene in face paint and like a white wig, and it's like, damn, this cast is pretty stellar. So fuck, I can't wait for June. June's gonna be insane.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, moving on to the next trailer. We got the Crow reboot. Right? We know that Brandon Lee, son of Bruce Lee,
Yep.
unfortunately passed away when this movie was filming the original version, I think in the 90s. Which is like so crazy to think about, that, you know, it was supposed to be like a fake gun that had a real bullet, and like what we just saw that happened to Alex Baldwin.
Yeah.
Brutal, right?
Right.
It's just, that's crazy to think about. No jokes there, unless you got one.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I don't.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, I don't joke about that, dude.
Okay.
But to jump right into it, Bill Skarsgård, he looks like crazy jacked for this. Yeah, he's like he looks like
Yeah.
his other brother, the one that's known to be the jacked one. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
what is that guy
what's-
going for him now?
Stellan? No, Stellan's the dad, right?
Yeah,
Bill-
Stellan's the dad.
Yeah, the one that was in True Blood. He's like,
Yeah, and the Northman. He was like
Yeah, and the
ridiculously
Northman.
jacked. in the
Oh,
Northman.
yeah.
That
I didn't realize
brother,
how kind of tall this guy was too. Like I saw a picture of them next to each other. I'm like, this guy like he got taller since it. I feel like.
right? Yeah, 'cause
something.
he
It
doesn't
feels-
look that tall in it, and his
Yeah.
brothers look super tall. So he looks like the short one, but he still looks like he's like 6'2", because the other Skarsgård brothers are like 6'4", 6'5", I think.
Yeah. So I guess
They're
they're
like
all
giants.
they're all giant people.
Yeah,
But
they're
he
like-
looks awesome in this movie. Like I mean, this trailer so far.
he does.
Oh, I think Skarsgård definitely has the eyeballs for the Crow. He looks good in the makeup. Obviously, he's ripped. He looks like he washed clothes on his stomach. I think with this, like today's technology, they can do a lot more with the Crow. But the Crow in itself, because of Brandon Lee and kind of what that movie was at the time, is very cult classic, very special in the hearts of many. I think that they will do a good job, hopefully, in honoring Brandon Lee and the original IP. And I think Skarsgård as an actor, especially in that kind of like spooky but dramatic type role, is going to do well. So high hopes for it, and also too, it's cool to see something like The Crow coming back.
Yeah, that's true. I'm excited to see what they do with it. It's just interesting to me, like what's up with just, like immortal people just like wrecking other people? Like what's so like fascinating? Because like that's Deadpool, that's Wolverine,
Ghost
the
Rider,
Crow, Ghost
Spawn.
Rider, Spawn. Like
Yeah.
all these people. Like what's like why is that such like an appeal? I'm not like poo-pooing it. I'm just like genuinely asking.
Yeah.
You know, I think
It's
I
weird.
think like it's satisfying to see. Well, because you assume that the guy doing this is a good guy going into bad guy territory and
Mhm.
just being unstoppable, right?
Revenge.
And then
Right.
it's like I guess it's kind of like when we watched again another guy, Luke Cage, when Luke Cage was on Netflix, and he just
Mm.
goes into that um like that den of like all those like I guess drug dealers or whatnot, and he's just like walking through, guns are blazing, and he's just like taking them all out. It's like just doing the
Yeah.
thing you'd like wish you could I'm just gonna go in there and clean up,
Right.
like, and no one can stop me.
Yeah.
The only thing is though, like he doesn't have impenetrable skin, so like he gets shot and then he's like, "Gah." And then they're
Yeah.
like, "Is he dead?" And he's like, "God!" And he just has like a sword. I'm like, what did they shoot him in the face? How many times can he take that? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, there's a part in the trailer too where it kind of looks like like his blood is black,
He's got
which
black
I don't know. Yeah, blood black. But like yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing that I thought
Yeah,
about
it
when I
is.
was watching the trailer. But he looks great for the role. I'm on board with it. It looks crazy. He also has like that other movie that's coming out, like The Killing Boy, too.
Oh yeah.
Where it looks very
Yeah.
similar. Like it looks like he just got jacked and then just stayed jacked for a year to do both of these movies.
That'd be smart though. So just get these back to back because I want to eat food again.
Right. I know. He's like, I probably want to eat something else besides boiled chicken and rice. Or
Yeah,
like, and boiled broccoli. I don't
I want to
know.
get hydrated again. That's gotta be
Yeah.
staying
Yeah.
dehydrated all the time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're like, call the Skarsgård out. He's got to come out of the sauna. We need him on set.
Yeah.
We need him sweaty and ripped. But yeah, it looks good. I'm on board with it.
So, would you say that you're more excited to see Skarsgård in The Crow, or are you more excited to see Anna Taylor-Joy as a young Furiosa?
Good
Good
question.
segue. And I'm gonna have to go with Furiosa.
Me too.
We like
I
Billy
think it's
TJ,
Skarsgård. He's good.
but
I just
Nah, he sucks.
think the Crow itself. I didn't really watch the original Crow, so like this seems like kind of cool movie. But Furiosa, I'd say we were familiar with Mad Max. We got that last one with Tom Hardy. There's gonna be a prequel, and Anya like looks
good.
like a young Charlize Theron. Like it's like when I
Yeah.
saw her in the
Yeah.
role, I was like, it makes sense for her to get older and become Charlize Theron, like in this world.
Totally. After
So-
watching the last trailer and then now this one, like the end where she shaves up all her hair and she paints her head black, you're like, yeah, that looks like Charlize.
Yeah,
And it was funny though the comments that Charlize Theron gave because they were like, "Oh, did they ask you if you were gonna be in the new Furiosa?" And she's like, "No, nobody asked me." And people were like, "Oh, it's gonna suck" and all that. But then you watch the trailer and you're like, this is literally just a prequel to Mad Max, and
Yeah.
it looks pretty damn good. Like very much the same. It seems like they hit the score for me, or like the sound effects. I think in the original was what really hit home for me. And it feels like it's coming back. Like even in the trailer, that engine where you can just hear like the engine getting put into gear. It's just
Yeah.
like, fuck, that sounds tough. So yeah, I'm on board.
yeah. This
good.
one looks like I definitely want to see this in theaters.
Oh yeah.
Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
a whole experience.
You want that
Part of
Dolby
me wants to
surround.
see it, or maybe at least once in like 4D. I wonder if the chair's just gonna be rumbling like the whole
You
movie.
should have sand being spit in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I wonder if it's gonna be, worse or better than Dune.
Yeah, exactly.
Like to our friends that watched it in 4DX and Dune, were they just like taking sand out of everywhere by the end of it, or?
No, I think it was just like random air types of. There wasn't any sand, luckily, but he said there were parts where it would rumble, and he's like, "All right, this is a bit much." Like, like it's kind of
like,
cool, but then you're like, "All right, okay." Like, it's like really
Yeah.
going to town. He said the trailers were nuts, actually, more nuts in the movie itself, which is interesting.
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah, I can imagine as this trailer comes up, and if you're seeing a movie in 4DX that has this in front of it, God help my back. I'm gonna have to have 2 extra strength Tylenols after the movie.
Yeah,
Because this looks wild too. But she looks good, and it looks like we see, where she comes from. I didn't know that in the Max world that there was any place left that had green things, or like that was paradise or whatever, So I guess I'm kind of interested to see what that looks like too.
Yeah. Kind of like a Badlands, Borderlands type feel.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting too to see ATJ in more uh, violence, action heavy rage situation. I don't know that she's been in a super lot of things like that, so it's
Hmm.
gonna be interesting to see her range and
Yeah.
what she can bring to the
The
character.
menu, but like she didn't really.
No,
Yeah, the menu, but I don't know.
she went off a
This
little
is
bit in the
different.
chess situation, and then she kind of did a little bit of it in New Mutants, but this is way
Yeah, that's
different, I
true.
think.
Yeah, this would be
Totally.
interesting as like a this is like a probably like action heavy too.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
like
yeah.
You
it
know.
it really does feel like a graphic novel
Oh,
type of way it's like shot. Because like
Totally. Like
I
a
was thinking
Frank
about that, like
Miller.
Chris Hemsworth, I'm like, he looks too pretty. Like
Thank you. Okay, I'm glad we're finally at Chris Hemsworth because I think he's the biggest draw for me in a lot of ways
mhm.
because we've never really seen him be a villain. He had that like whatever mind sweeper or spider whatever mind. I don't remember what it was called. It was on Netflix
Yeah.
with Miles Teller. But he looks like he's trying to be really crazy in this,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
put on some prosthetics. So I want to see like Chris Hemsworth getting wild and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know like just crazy. So yeah, he looks interesting, and he's got like, is he a redhead in it? I don't know why that was the choice, but I'm for it. You know.
Yeah,
Ginger
for sure.
Hemsworth, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be really fun. Um, definitely a freaking popcorn and drink kind of movie. Maybe don't watch it in 4D if you want to eat and drink. But,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Sounds like a lot of your popcorn is gonna get blown away.
yeah, more popcorn.
All right. So I think that brings us into the news section. We got some quick news we're just going to run through real fast. All of the Sony Spider-Man movies are coming back to theaters. I think there's 8 of them. Does this interest you guys at all?
I mean, it's cool. I think if I
Yeah.
had the time and the money to just watch them all the way through, and it was like a slumber party, and I had my friends there, and we were all talking Spider-Man, and we dressed up, and maybe we had some toys we could play with, that'd be tight. But I don't know if I'm gonna go because I got stuff.
Yeah, if this came out back in college or
Yeah.
high school or something during the
Yeah.
summer, and we're just like we're barely working right now, like that'd be sick. But I mean, it's still cool. I
Yeah.
just don't know. It'd be a really tight window for me to be like, I'm gonna go watch it. But that's pretty awesome that that's available.
Yeah. Hopefully
Because
Yeah,
there are
it'll.
people who haven't seen it, like seen some of these
Oh.
movies in theaters.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got the luxury of seeing all of these in theaters once
Yeah,
before.
except for
So
the Spider-Man with with Andrew Garfield.
Garfield.
I ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie, I didn't try to go see those in theater.
oh well, fuck you. It's not good. Just joking.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, I was the one, that everybody was pointing out. It's like, you never supported him when he had his own movie, and it's true. I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I thought he was a great Spider-Man, terrible Peter Parker, but
It's fair.
yeah, I can't. I'm trying to think of any of those movies I would even go to see. Maybe Toby
OG?
Spider-Man 2.
Oh, no,
That-
numero dos. Interesting.
Oh, with Doc
Yeah.
Ock, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ones, and maybe Spider-Man 3 just to see if it holds up.
I'd
But-
probably watch the first trilogy though, because even the first three, I think were just more fun watches.
They were, and it was like
Yeah.
the first time we had anything like that. We had
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the Fox X-Men movies, but it was like first time really seeing like a Spider-Man done right,
Yeah.
like true to the origin, like
Yep.
Kirsten Dunst at that time with the upside down kiss in the rain.
Oh,
Ha-cha-cha-cha-cha.
iconic.
Waterboarding.
Just all the water going my nose upside down.
Yeah,
I
I
heard
do
that was
think
a crazy
about that.
scene to film. Yeah.
That's true. He probably was getting waterboarded, right?
Yeah.
God,
For sure.
I would. It's probably well worth it. Yeah, that's probably it though. All right, what's next? We have Aaron Taylor Johnson is reported to have been offered the role of 007. Are you guys?
Okay.
Skyfall.
Yeah, I was like, where are we going with this one? Is it the GoldenEye theme song? Is it
Yeah.
the live action stuff? Yeah, I think it's a great choice. My dad's a massive 007 fan, and because of that, I think it's passed on to me a little bit. I liked a lot of Daniel Craig's movies. I didn't love all of them, but I thought he was an incredible 007. I know people, want to go back to like Sean Connery or I don't know. I'm trying to think of some
Pierce
other guys.
Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan.
Was one,
Oh
and
yeah,
someone else
that's
too.
one
I
when we were
forget.
kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a great choice. The dude's a solid actor. He's been like coming up ever since Kick-Ass. Like he's been doing action stuff, and he's kind of taken on, I guess, more mature roles. So I think it's a good choice. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on him taking over?
What does your dad think?
I have not asked him yet. Dad, if you're listening, write a review.
Please
And
like and subscribe.
Yeah, I should ask Christine and her folks too, because they're like, I think they watch.
They're
It's one of
connoisseurs.
those movies they'd like get on repeat every once in a while. They would like the next year they
like
tune
when
in again,
TNT was doing
rewatch,
like a run of all the 007
yeah, and
movies,
they're
they're
like, oh, we're gonna
"This is
tune
what we're
in,
doing
yeah,
today."
sort of thing. So, I wasn't ever like super invested in 007. It's cool. The games were fun, or the game was fun and stuff. But I don't know. I personally haven't really seen him in like something that tells me he's like this character.
The
But
Bullet Train?
Bullet Train, yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
With Brad Pitt?
I mean, Quicksilver was pretty 007 like.
yeah. Speedy.
because that's the thing. I keep thinking Quicksilver and Kick Ass, but I forgot he's in Bullet Train. He did a good job in that. Yeah, sure, why not? You know?
I think it'll depend on the
Scott sold?
story. It'll depend on the stories because,
Yeah.
like Tom said, Daniel Craig did a great job as being 007, but some of the stories were kind of like so outlandish. And so I compare it to Mission Impossible. We've had a lot of Mission Impossibles, and Tug Speedman has done a bunch of these, right? And so when
like a
It's
we
a
name.
deep cut.
deep cut,
That's a
and
deep
so
Tom Cruise cut.
deep Tom Cruise cut. But the stories are relatively consistent. The characters are consistent. Whereas 007 seems kind of like a new thing every single time. They carry over some things. So it's really going to be how do they do the handoff? What new story they're going to bring in? Because 007 is typically main villain, crazy action, beautiful mistress person.
Yeah.
So
I think the
how are they going to
story-
continue that?
Story should be he's a hunter and
Yeah.
he's trying to hunt Spider-Man. And,
Yeah. And his mom disappeared while she was researching spiders in the Amazon.
Yeah. And his uncle died trying to save pennies.
It's kind of Craven the Hunter. It's kind of like
yeah. He's like, yeah. Damn, what's the saying? I blew it. Whatever the Quicksilver saying was, like, you didn't see
Catch
that
if you
coming.
can. Oh,
Yeah, you didn't see that coming. That'd be great. You got to throw that in there.
Okay.
ATJ. Well, yeah, we'll see what he does. I mean, we don't even know if he's been offered, but that has been heavily rumored right now going on
Yeah.
around the
Okay.
internet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thumbnails.
so The Bear has been, not only is it filming season 3, but they have also confirmed season 4. I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but I'm obviously massively excited. That was my number one show last year. It's probably going to be again.
Yeah.
I'm so invested in this.
My interest is going to be how in the restaurant world, in terms of how it comes up or how you come up, you start off at the bottom and you work your way up, and then you go through all these phases and these ebbs and flows. I'm interested to see.
It's
What?
weird that you're saying that
Yeah.
as Drake, because all I could think of started from the bottom, now we're here. I was like, just like Drake, but I was like,
Yeah,
you're
dude.
saying it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
My name
It's
is
too
also
meta.
Drake, so it's the same.
exactly.
And so because he started a restaurant, he's looking for kind of that clout. He's working within the confines of his family and the restaurant industry in that city. And so the next tier up from when you become a head chef and when you become a chef de cuisine, and you're running all of these things as like an executive chef, and things are going good, the next step above that would be like restaurateur. How am I going to open up multiple restaurants and then essentially move away from quote unquote cooking and being more of a manager restaurateur who's controlling like an empire of things? That's probably not where this is going to go, but it is going to be interesting to see what steps they take towards that career growth within the Bear as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see it going that way though, because there was a little bit of a time jump from season one to season two. So
Mm.
and then all of a sudden it was like boom, they're like creating this not just restaurant, but like a top fine dining restaurant. So it's like I could see them going that way. It just has to come back around to Carm dealing with whatever trauma that he hasn't resolved yet. So if
Mm.
there's a way for him to be like, oh, well, I have to manage all these people and I'm doing this at such a high level, but I'm still kind of a shit person, then I think there's a lot of story there. And what I really liked about what they did last season was they found all these other, you could call them side characters at the time. Now they all had their own little episodes where they focused on them. Like going,
Spin-offs.
dude, yeah, we're going even more into their stories would be awesome. Ayo
Mm-hmm.
Adabiri being more of a star now, like there's so much more they could do with her.
Yeah.
Eben Moss Blackrock being more of a star now, like he's gonna probably pop off on a few episodes. Like, dude, there's so much they could do with this show
Yeah.
for a long time. As long as they keep finding ways to make like the characters compelling and like the drama within their lives compelling. Like I think what you said was probably a really cool idea because that sounds like a lot of pressure, and we see in every season like pressure gets to him, so that's great.
Under
Yeah.
pressure.
I was thinking, because I follow Matty Matheson, and like he makes like these random like, just like if you're drunk or tired, middle of the night kind of meals, fast kind of meals. Like he made like these peanut butter noodles. He's oh they're so good.
Oh, I seen
He's
that. I
like
seen
very
that,
like
yeah.
yeah. I would love for him to have a part in it where he's behind and he's making one of his meals. And they're like, "What the fuck is this, dude? Get out of here!" And he's like, "I'm sorry, man." And he's like, "It's like actually one of his like
These real
creations
meals.
he does or something." Like, it'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool because
That
he
one-
doesn't cook in the show, but kind of cool if he's just like in there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, which is so funny because he's, I mean, actually a chef, and he's like the only person in that team that doesn't really cook. He's like the handyman slash janitor, right? But I really liked his speech for whatever it was, the Emmys and stuff. That was really cool, where he like gave a lot of credit. He's like, I grew up in kitchens, like, it's hard work. We love kitchens. We love, cooking and all the props there, but. Yeah, man, check that out if you haven't seen that speech because that was cool. And then like Eben Moss Backrack like came up and gave him like the biggest kiss, and I was like, oh my god, that was
Hot.
yeah, pretty hot.
Juicy.
All right, what do we got next?
Juicy. X-Men
We got
97,
X-Men
Tom.
97. It's coming out tomorrow, but technically
dun.
tonight.
Tonight.
Right?
I think it's supposed to be Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Oh.
So that
And
would
I'm
be
wrong, guys.
tomorrow.
Tune in tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, though,
You should have seen it.
Yeah, hopefully. But man, crazy we're here. We also on social media posted this thing where I got to go back and, look through all of the things we've done and talking to Larry Houston, who was the showrunner for the original animated series. It's just like, it's crazy that it's here. It's crazy the reception it's getting. All of the big news publication and reviewers that have seen it are like, we knew the nostalgia was going to get us, but we didn't think it was going to actually be so good and compelling too. And it's like hitting on every level. They're like, the nostalgia is there for sure. The story, the characters, and where we catch up with them is there. And then the action's there too. And it's like, oh my god, I'm so excited about this. Obviously, I got my jacket on. This might be one of the things I'm most hyped about all year, besides
Yeah.
maybe like Deadpool and Wolverine. But I mean, again, they're just like, that's just another X-Men thing. So I don't know, where does this rank in your guys' rankings for hype level? Like, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about? Like, do you even care? I don't know. I guess I haven't asked that question.
No, for sure. I think what's cool is like it's not just like they're bringing X-Men back. Like we had an X-Men Evolution. That was like probably the next X-Men we got after the 97 that we grew up watching. And that's cool, but it's like it's never been like we're continuing the one that everyone loves. And it's
Yeah.
probably for them too. They assume everyone's excited. It's got to be exciting to hear like, wow, people are like really losing their minds over this. Like, I'm glad we did this. Like, I feel like it's bigger than they thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
You know?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but I'm
No.
I'm excited for it. It's pretty cool because it's tied to nostalgia, and it's like really similar art and stuff. And like it's like
But
we can of
better.
course wake up and watch cartoons
Yeah.
now and like pretend we're like doing the Saturday morning cartoons, but it's like we get to do that again. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like the most
we could just
nostalgia
pretend.
ever.
We don't
Yeah.
actually do that these
Yeah.
days anymore.
I gotta watch it on Saturday.
Oh,
Right.
Mom, shut the door. I think going off of what Scott kind of was talking about is like we do rarely have IP come back in its originality, just kind of update a little bit and take off exactly where it left off. And I think that's one of the most intriguing things is because you would have had to have watched it then, appreciated it, been like, oh man, why aren't they making more of these? And then grown up, paid taxes, quit jobs, do all the things.
Got
and
a
then
job.
got a job,
Yeah.
and then made dinner, and then you hear about it and you're like, oh wow, they're taking off right from where it left off. And I think that to me sparks the most amount of excitement. It's something that you wished would have happened, and knowing that you can't really go in the past and you really have no control over it, and all of a sudden it's just come back, that brings a lot of joy into my mind. So it's going to be very wonderful to see something as precious as that continue on and affect people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
100%, man. Yeah, God, I can't wait for tomorrow night. I'm so excited.
You got your lotion and tissues?
Yes. Yep.
Sick.
Yep. But I'm gonna trade those out. I'm gonna get a bowl of, let me see, Lucky Charms.
Oh,
I'm gonna find
Oat milk?
my
With
Thomas
lotion?
Tank Engine. Yeah, I'm trading them out.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
oh,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I'm
eat
still
my
stuck on the
lotion.
lotion. Sorry.
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
Jergens.
squeeze it all in my hand,
Oh.
and I'm not.
Sick.
You say Thomas the Tank Engine?
Yeah, the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh wow.
Hey, we all have our thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving
we all-
on. No, I'm sorry.
Oh man, yeah,
shit.
it's crazy. And I mean, I think you guys have also heard like the showrunner for this show too got fired. We don't really have any information about it. I don't know if we'll have anything while the show is dropping, but I'm just curious about it, and I think when we know more about it, we'll probably talk about it again sometime on the show. But I don't
Yeah,
really
it-
have anything to say because there's no other information besides like
Yeah.
he got fired the week before, and,
Right.
and that's it.
And it's smart for them to not say anything because like it would hurt the show. It's like when
Yeah.
remember when DC was announcing the shows and then Swamp Thing came out and then we all found out it immediately got canceled after the episode 1 and everyone was like, I'm not gonna watch it now. So like no matter how
Right.
good the show was, no one's gonna watch it. So it makes sense. We'll probably hear more later, but
Yeah.
they probably want people to check out the show first and not get stuck in the drama.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yep.
Drama mama.
100%. All right, we're into reviews now, and right off the bat, Scott, you watched something kind of, I don't know if it's one of your favorite comedians, but he's definitely one of mine. Andrew Santino is in it, along with John Cena.
Yup.
Where's some of the other guys?
We
Who's
got,
the main
Zac-
guy? Zac Efron.
Zac Efron, yeah.
Oh,
Hands
yeah.
down, And then they have another friend, Jermaine Fowler, who's also a comedian.
Is he a comedian, or is he? I thought, like, no, I just wasn't sure what he was. Like, I was like, man, is he like a TikToker or YouTube guy?
No,
Or
yeah, 'cause,
does he actually do stand-up?
I think he does. I'm honestly not too familiar with him, but I was watching the Bad Friends where they had them on. Bad Friends is Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, and they interviewed John Cena, Zac Efron, and Jermaine Fowler. And
okay.
Bobby's like, oh, like Bobby and Jermaine are like, oh yeah, I've known him for years, kind of thing. So like, I assume he like is just like an LA or not just, but he's an LA comic. He goes to the store and all this stuff, and just we haven't really seen him, or he hasn't really, So could be like one of his first big breaks too. It's cool to see comedians that we haven't heard of, like getting these kind of roles.
For sure.
But
So what did you think about it overall? Did the comedy land for you? Like, tell us what you
I
thought
think
about the movie.
honestly, it's a really silly movie. So there are some jokes that don't land. I feel like there's certain things like I really like Andrew Santino. I feel like certain things didn't land as hard as I think it could have. I don't know if it was the writing.
Mhm.
Because I've seen him in Dave and he's like, there's things he does in that's so funny, and it's like a more serious line or something, and he's just like the way he's saying it. So,
Right.
but
I mean,
overall,
even just in his normal conversation on the podcast, like
Yeah.
the dude's hilarious.
the dude's hilarious. Yeah, He's like master of improv, this dude. But it was like his character kind of seemed more generic, which was a little bit of a bummer, but it's cool to see him in it. Um, but overall, I thought it's a fun premise. Premise of the movie is like Zac Efron, Andrew Santino, and Jermaine Fowler. They're three friends. They do this prank when they're younger. It goes south. They pin it on this kid that doesn't exist called Ricky Stanicky. They get away with it, and they're like, "Whoa, we just got the golden ticket. We can do anything we want and just blame this kid no one knows."
Mhm.
And then throughout life growing up, they just blame this kid who eventually becomes their best friend, and it gets them out of things. They're like, in the movie, you see like they're literally like, so Ricky's got cancer again. It's a shame, man. Like, I wish I could be there for him. Like, you should go. The wives are like, you should go. And he's like, no, I can't do that. You need me. Go. You need to go. Like, okay. And then they all like, fuck yeah, we got away with it. And they're going to see like
going
the
to
World
Atlantic City,
Series, or like,
baby.
they're like, I think, yeah, they're going to Atlantic City at that time, right? They go,
Yeah.
they go to all these like events that they normally wouldn't be able to go to. And then they get into a situation where they have to prove that Ricky Stanicky is a real person. And throughout the like mayhem, they meet John Cena, who is like a I don't know, it's so ridiculous. He's like a musician who performs. He's like a Weird Al, but he replaces all the parodies like dicks and like
And jacking off.
and jacking up. It's kind of really stupid, but
Yeah.
it's
What
kind
you
of a
guys
funny
think how
thing.
I'll react to X-Men 97?
Yeah, exactly. Lots of lotion, lots of good times.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Right. That was
yeah.
honestly one of the more funny parts about the movie to me.
That
Where he was
was.
on stage and he's like doing Britney Spears and he's doing
That's
what
what was funny too, because he has like a different costume for each person, and it's funny seeing John Cena. Like, I like John Cena, and I think he's found like what makes him funny, and like how to be funny, or like for him, because he's like such a kind of awkwardly giant dude.
Buff
Like,
dude,
he's
yeah.
like the Hulk, and
Yeah.
like him dressing up and like him being silly but committing like 100% to what he's doing is like hilarious. And
Mhm.
like at the end of all his like songs, it was funny seeing him. He didn't even sing the "Hit Me Baby One More Time," but he was singing it because he just comes out in
Off
that
the
music
stage.
video outfit, and
The
you're just like, that's the
pigtails and the
button.
short skirt
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, it's just so funny. And then he's
Yeah.
climbing out a window in his heels and stuff. And then yeah, he's a trained actor in this movie. And then he has to become their best friend at like some event, and like he's just like over the top, and they're like, I don't know where this guy's going with this character. He's going off book, and like he's kind of a genius with improv. And it's really silly movie. If you feel like watching like kind of a dumb comedy, I'd say check it out. Yeah, it's a fun movie. That's what I
Nice.
thought. Yeah.
Where can the viewers and listeners watch it on? What platform?
Amazon Prime.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta give it another rewatch. From what I saw of it, there were some funny moments for sure. And yeah, I just seeing John Cena just you're right, he commits. Whatever the joke
Like
is, the dude is
100%.
like, yeah. And that
Yeah.
does make it better. I think still one of his most funny characters to me is the Peacemaker.
For
Because
sure.
everything he says, he's saying the most outrageous stuff, but he like believes it. You're like,
Yeah.
dude, all right. But he kind of has some of that in this movie too, so I do love that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? We got Invincible Part 2 came back with episode 5. Man, I thought this was a
Whoa.
really strong episode. Also on
Yep.
Amazon Prime.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, yeah, what'd you guys think? I thought it was awesome because I was like, how does Mark move forward with this? His dad got captured. He found out he has a half brother.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I will say that I kind of knew was going to happen, but I was like, how is this going to work? Was that he would have to take the brother back with
Right.
him. Spoiler alert. Sorry. He'd have to take the brother back with him. And I'm like, they do that. But the mom having to deal with that is crazy. And also, like, I didn't realize he was gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, all of
Yeah.
his friends and everything back there.
Schooling.
Yeah, there's just a lot of shit that he has to like deal with. Like the road's never easy for Invincible. Like, he always has some shit that he has to like deal with. I don't know. That just seems really unfair. But really good episode all around. What do you guys think?
I really enjoyed because when the season left off last time, they gave us that Adam Eve kind of short, and it kind of dived deeper into her character and really led us on kind of a tangent. But to see it come back and to see the dire need of all of these heroes coming together again for kind of this larger plot, in a kind of in a cool situation.
We're about to poop.
Yeah, I kind of had a little eep, and it was just cool to see kind of everything kind of come together and pick right off. It captivated you with not only the action but the dialogue and the drama. It just continues to amaze in terms of how the character development is still kind of going. Even though you have these established characters that you either love or hate, but it seems as if you're growing to either hate them or love them more, or in the opposite. So that's really been
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. I'm invested in all the characters, not just Mark.
Yep.
And like not just Mark the mom and like the dad, like even the side characters. I'm invested in. I I'm drawing a blank at his name, but he's the dude who, spoiler alert, who just recently found out he was a cyborg, and like he's like questioning like I don't remember me dying in that accident, but I
Oh
did.
yeah.
And like
Yeah,
I'm invested in that storyline.
he's like the agent
Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
to what is the other guy's name too? Who keeps sending them on missions?
Scarface.
Pretty
Yeah,
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his name.
But yeah, his like associate, and like it was like a throwaway situation because you see in that moment like he explodes trying to take out I think Omni Man, and then he like sacrifices himself, and you're like, oh wait, he's just back, and they never explain it, and then all of a sudden in this episode it's like they explain it and he has to deal with the fact that he didn't know he died. You're like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm glad we're bringing that back. Like that's
Yeah.
just like such a crazy Robert Kirkman move. I feel like
Yep.
Yeah.
where you're like, that was a big deal. Wait, that wasn't. That was like this hanging thread, and now it comes back in a big bad way. That was another crazy part. I feel like in this episode.
For sure. And I do like the characters you have are kind of like nods to like the Justice League DC characters. You know, we
Yeah.
got the Martian. We kind of got a Starro thing going on in this with those creatures that can like can't take over the aliens, but they can take over humans.
Yeah. The squid aliens.
The squid things, and it's
Squidians or whatever. Yeah.
and then there's like nice like I mean, and then like they throw humor in there. Like the Martian guy is like really weird, and he talks about like he's supposed to be giving them a heads up, and he gives them a heads up like a second before it happens.
Yeah.
You're like, you fucking idiot. It's just kind of funny, and you're like stressed. You're like, I don't know how they're gonna survive now. But it was cool too to see like in this one, most of the team had to go into space, and they left Rex, Katie, and
Multiple girl, or is that Katie?
Yeah.
Katie's multiple girl. Yeah, multiple girl, and then the one that can shrink, pretty much like Ant-Man and the
Yeah.
Wasp situation.
Yeah.
And there's
I
like,
don't
we're gonna
know
have a
what
chill night, and
Order
that
pizza.
goes to shit,
Yep.
and in space they're going to shit, and it like, it really leaves you on a cliffhanger. I was like, part of me was like, I kind of wish I skipped this week and watched like, just got the two-parter because holy
Yeah.
shit, did I want to know what happened next.
Yeah.
It got,
definitely.
and you know what's, and I know I care about the show when I'm getting the same vibes as like Game of Thrones. When shit starts going south for like multiple girl and stuff, I was like, oh no, no, no. And then like
Yeah.
things are going bad. I'm like, oh, it felt like when the mountain was like killing the Viper or whatever, like smash his head in. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, like these are cartoon characters, but I'm like I'm like
Yeah.
getting stressed.
Yeah,
It's fucking
100%. She keeps trying to teleport, and he keeps getting her, and I was just like, oh my god, she's down to her last one. Yeah, I was like, this is going south so fast. And even the fact that I cared about Rex Explode, because I don't
Yeah.
like. I'm like, God, I hate Rex Explode. He's such a douche. But in this one, is this the one where he like also
Has a heart to heart with Adam Eve.
yeah, with Adam Eve, exactly. And he's like, oh, he's not that terrible of a guy. And then
Yep.
you just start liking him, and then he almost starts dying, and you're like, holy shit, this show is good.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was like, there's been times during the show where I was like, man, I hope he gets killed. And then when it almost comes down to it, I'm like,
You're like, not
dude,
like
you
this.
better escape.
Yeah.
You're like, you better
Yeah,
make
you know
it.
what? I think because I guess it's a good choice too, because you're right there with him when he's freaking out. He's like, no, 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 no. And you're like,
Yeah.
he knows he's gonna die. Like you're almost 100% sure he's gonna die, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, this, I don't like this. Like
Yeah.
it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Even when the I forget her name, but the one that can shrink
Tiny girl. Yeah.
goes in and he's like, she doesn't stay small, and then she tries to grow, and then
Then he muscles
that
his
guy just
body to
muscles his
squish
way
her.
and
Like,
just like
what?
eats her, and she dies too. And I'm like, what the
What the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
I know.
What a
But I-
nuts! Definitely a bunch of spoilers, but oh, man,
Yeah.
the anxiety and like
Yeah.
such
I
a good
know.
show.
Thanks,
Oh,
Robert
It
Kirkman.
is. I
yeah.
know. It's interesting. Like, how do you guys feel about it being split into two parts? Because okay, we got episode 5 is done. Now we know we're only getting 3 more episodes. Like that
Oh,
just doesn't feel like enough. Like I wish that this show
was
didn't
it?
get split into 2 or had like 2 extra episodes. Like I want 10.
I know, because
Agree.
the thing is, like, we already know what's like. There's so much more to happen. Like, Alan wakes up at the end,
Oh,
and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
he's stronger
That's right.
now,
And
and
you
you know
find.
he's trying to he's friends with Mark, so
Mhm.
like there's gonna be something there, like they're gonna team up, and I'm assuming because the brother's growing up quick, so I'm dreaming at one point it's gonna be Alan, Mark, the brother,
And then
and
good
then maybe they
Viltrumite.
get the dad back, and they're
Oh,
just
yep.
tearing up other Viltrumites. Maybe they, you
Oof.
know, like that would be sick. I don't even, but I don't know how much of that we're gonna even get this season, and the way things just
Yeah.
take fucking curves, I don't even know if that's even gonna happen. Like anything could happen. The his brother could die at any moment, and then I'd
Yeah,
be like,
that's true.
oh shit.
Nobody's off limits.
Yeah,
I think you bring up a good point, but look how much intrigue and look how much want it brings out of its viewers. Like, I want to see another season. I want to see all these things. I want to keep doing the things. And what other show aside from maybe like Game of Thrones
The
or
boys.
Avatar, yeah, The Boys, are we really like give us more? And sometimes people just put out the characters and the IP and the stories, and they're just like, here it is. But this one is just like we're salivating over it, and that's special.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that. And it's like I could pick up the comics. The interesting thing is the comic for it is done. Like the story's
Mhm.
concluded. Like there's a finite ending. Not like, again, you're talking about IP. There's, so many shows where they just drag it on forever and you're like, man, I really should have ended a season ago or 2 seasons ago and it would still been good.
Mhm.
But this one has a finite ending and I don't want to read the comic. Like I know that's bad. Like it's probably the only thing I
Yeah.
could say that for because like I just want to just experience it and not know what's going to happen next. And
Yeah,
fuck
I
it
want to
just
read it when it's all done. And
yeah,
I've heard
yeah.
it's like it takes its own maybe little differences here and there, but I think overall they're probably gonna keep like the main through line. But
Yeah,
yeah, I want to read the comic as a let's go through the show again sort of situation. I don't want to get spoiled.
totally.
I want to get spoiled, but I don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, that was Invincible part 2 of season 2. We're back with episode 5 and we'll have episode 6 next week. We can't wait. All right. Next, we have Shogun. And I only watched up to episode 4.
Oh,
Where did you I wasn't able to watch episode 5 yet, but yeah, feel free to talk about it if you want.
So I did watch I watched all the episodes, and then we're currently on episode 5.
okay.
So in episode 4, you're kind of left off with Blackstone, and he's kind of training the men, and cannons are involved, and Toranaga's son kind of is influenced to kind of start a war in ways of such. And then in this new episode, it's kind of the backlash of all of that took place.
Yeah, okay. Like, yeah, let's dive into episode 4 a little bit more because I feel like we talked about this earlier today, Drake, where this show is so crazy because
So good.
every episode continues to get better and better. It's
Yeah.
literally like a bunch of dominoes that starts off really small and by the end of it it's like Stonehenge. So like man, I'm just so impressed by how this show continuously amps up the tension and
Yeah.
amps up the drama, makes you care more about the characters.
Ugh.
And then like we mentioned Game of Thrones a bunch of times tonight, and I think this is the closest thing we've seen to Game of Thrones because
Yeah.
nobody feels safe. Everything can happen at like the flip of a switch, and just yeah, the way episode 4 ends was like, whole fuck, did not see that coming.
Yeah.
And it was like it was there, it was hinted at, but you're like, damn, he really went there with it, Tornaga-san. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. It is the acting is great, scenes are great, the costuming is great, but the thing that I think shines most because a lot of individuals who have watched the original series and read the book will say that the original series is more on the Anglo-Saxon side, whereas this is kind of a little bit more in the in-between. But episode 4 and 5 really deepen into the lack of understanding that Blackstone has of the culture of Japan at the time, and you really get to deep dive into how the feudal system, Bushido, the Japanese culture, the idea of the Eightfold Wall comes into play into episode 5.
Okay, what was the definition of that? Like, how did that come into play for episode 4? Because that was the title of episode 4, right? The
Yes.
Eightfold Wall.
Yes.
Like, what did that mean?
So the Eightfold Wall is kind of an idea. It's you could think of it as like almost like a coping mechanism to compartmentalize. Also to a framework of how Japan's like internal nationalism kind of was as well too, because they were cut off from Europeans for a long time, and even in watching things like The Last Samurai, there was very few amounts of influence that they wanted to have up until a point where then it kind of overflowed and kind of changed Japan as a whole. And so the idea of these are the rules, this is how we live our lives. Mariko says it really great. You can have purpose, life and death are the same. You can have purpose and meaning in both, right? Whereas Blackstone comes in from a country who views freedom, like freedom. Episode 5, Mariko says something very poignant. She goes, freedom, Blackstone is like, don't you want to be free from this prison? And Mariko's like, you are the one who is imprisoned, because if all you value is freedom, then you will never be free from yourself.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
That kind of stuff gets super deep because Blackstone is kind of on the backdrop being like, why do you let people treat you like this, and why do you do this and that and this? And Mariko has to kind of continues to go over that. These are our customs. Like, I am a person who I am, but quote unquote behind the Eightfold Wall, right? I can be this person in this society, but that doesn't take away from me. I will always continue to be me, just because what I do or what I give or what I don't give, right, will always be my choice, even though it may not seem like that to an outsider. So it's, the Japanese culture goes super deep into it. And that's, to build off of what you were saying earlier, it always gets better. It always gets better, and you're continuously learning about all of these kind of concepts as well too.
Yeah, and through the concepts, like, you learn about the characters too. Like, Blackstone's kind of like a proxy for, I think we probably have a little bit more knowledge than like the general public on this stuff. But like, if you don't know anything about Japanese culture, what you just explained, and also like Blackstone being like, well, why don't you guys do this, or why don't you do that, and her being like, that's asinine, or that's stupid. That's like, that's the way you look at it. We don't look at it that way. That's, whatever. I think that's like a really interesting thing to think about, because so much of like our culture, our lives, is based, or like the way we think is based on our culture and like the people we're around, or like whatever. It could be like our politics, what we watch, whatever, right? Or like our friends, family. But this shows you, like, just because you're surrounded by it doesn't mean it's the right way to think. And shit like that always tickles my fancy. Like, I love, like, always kind of questioning the way I'm thinking about things. It's probably one of the things that's most annoying to my own self. But like, I do kind of love that concept, and I think this show really messes with those ideas really well and like plays with it. And then it's like, oh yeah, I don't know, and yeah, I wasn't a fan of Blackstone, but I feel like he's kind of growing on me as he opens up to the culture. Maybe, to use a generic example or like reference, like The Last Samurai. Like, you don't really like Tom Cruise in the beginning, but by the end of it, you're like, he gets it. He's like one of them. It's like Blackstone is like that, but it's not as cheesy in a way as The Last Samurai was.
Yeah, it's slightly more to that point. When The Last Samurai, you never really see Tom Cruise's character kind of share his culture with the Japanese people that he's with in that movie. Whereas in episode 5, you're going to get to see a little bit more of Blackstone trying to live in that culture and share. And you're going to get to see how the Japanese culture differs from what Blackstone is willing to share, and how different these two like ideas are. And then you're gonna really get to see how Blackstone just like I don't understand. Everything is going above my head. Yeah, episode 5 gets better. It leaves you on a cliffhanger, both figuratively and literally. And what it's bringing forward, because we know that Toranaga and the council are kind of gonna war and go head to head essentially. You see that building, and then it also leaves you on, well, after this episode, how is that going to take place? So
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
episode 5 is nice.
No, yeah, I mean, I think that's the point in episode 4 where you see them coming up off the boat and you see the army and they're like, oh, all these people are loyal to Toranaga. So you see, like, he has an army too.
Oh yeah.
You know, and like, I like that moment, and you see how much respect he has and everything. And like, what kind of leader is he? He bows to all of them too. I'm like, fuck, that's just like, Toranaga's the man. Like, why can't he why can't he lead me?
Toranaga,
You know? Yeah, he's this dude. Yeah, I just love this show more and more and more. But yeah, Scott, where are you at with everything?
Man, I'm like still pretty early on. I'm ashamed.
Okay.
It's definitely on my list to catch up on. As the weeks go by, the hours it takes to catch up, you're like, okay, I don't have that much time this week, but then
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to catch up this week. But
So what, like
I do want to
episode
watch
2 or episode 1?
I watched episode 1. It's
Okay.
really
Okay.
good, but I'm on 2 now. But
Yeah.
Yeah. But the one thing I will say about this show, though, like I can't talk enough good things about the show, but like you gotta pay attention. It's not one of those shows you can just like put on the background and maybe you're gonna catch, because one, I mean, I have to read mostly everything. There's like words I know. It's like, oh, I know that word. Oh, I know that word. But like, there's a lot of things where you have to pay attention, and the way they deliver the lines too, like there's so much nuance in there. It's like you have to capture it. So if you're like, I'm just gonna put it on and not really focus, like you're not only doing the show a disservice, like you're doing yourself a disservice too. So I could say like it is not one of those shows, like if you had a long day at work, it might be a little bit tough, but if you get some energy back, you take a nap, take a 5-hour energy, and you can pay attention, it's fucking awesome.
yeah, and that's the other positive. The more I have banked, the better that marathon's gonna be. When I finally get some time. So
Yeah.
Binge boy.
You also too, if you enjoy Mariko as a character, she unveils a little bit more of her past history in episode 5, and I could make a strong argument that Mariko is the focal point of the entire show.
Dude, I'm so happy you said that, because the more I watch, I kind of watched episode 4 like a few times in like different spots, and I was like, man, she's really an important character. She's bringing in like the English side, even though they're speaking Portuguese, right? But then like she's also telling us as the audience what the Japanese culture is about, how they think about things. She's the conduit between the High Lord Toranaga of this prefecture, and then again our reference with Blackstone. So I was like, man, she's so good, and she does so many like really good subtle things with her acting, like just little faces she makes and the way she delivers lines. I'm like, they scored on her. She was 10 out of 10 casting. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she should be up for an Emmy for sure, in just terms of her performance and also her dual linguistship and her portrayal of this character and how much depth she has. Man, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Phenomenal. Dude, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's Shogun. We'll hopefully you can catch up next week. We'll try not to spoil too much. We'll say from episode 5 and 6 next week, but we'll have to see where you're at, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we got last few things, and then we'll close it out. Do you guys briefly want to talk about Spaceman and what was the other thing?
Oh, Damsel.
And
Damsel Washington.
Yeah.
Take it away,
so,
guys.
We'll you say Spaceman first?
Yeah, Spaceman.
Well, do your pitch. I think you have a good, quick description, and then we can kind of go back and forth on a little bit.
Yeah. So, Spaceman is, what is it called?
You always
say
Drake told me.
Yeah.
Drake told me that it's like Interstellar.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's
but
like yeah. but I don't remember what I said to you.
Great pitch, dude.
It's like
So check it out. It's on
yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah. What did I say? It was like it's like Interstellar, but like less serious, or
I think so.
Scott, take it
or
away
something
on
like
this
that?
one.
Yeah,
Okay, it is kind. There's definitely interstellar vibes in it. It stars Paul Dano and Adam Sandler.
Book 'em,
Adam
Dano.
Sandler's a spaceman, and Paul Dano's a voice of a spider that's pretty creepy looking throughout
Huge
the whole
arachnid.
movie.
Yep.
Huge arachnid. He's about this big,
Oh wow, Bambucha.
maybe bigger actually. I don't know. But
Oh,
at one point, a couple times they hug. So
Yeah, yeah. It looks comfy.
he
It
hugs
looks
this
cute.
big spider. But throughout the whole movie, I didn't trust the spider. He ended up being a pretty good guy. But
Yeah.
it did have interstellar kind of vibes. It had to do with like time and the way you perceive things in your life and what's
Yeah.
important and stuff like that. But it was cool. It was cool to see Adam Sandler in a serious role.
So, like, along the lines of like Uncut Gems, or are we talking like Spanglish?
I don't think it was
Or
better
just-
than both of those
yeah,
movies.
Yeah, I think if,
Oh, the
if you had
movie
to rate
wasn't-
him, I think this was not as good. It's just because it's really serious and he's just kind of alone up there.
Yeah.
He's not as it's not as like
Engaging?
engaging to see as you would watch like a Tom Hanks or a Matt Damon.
Yeah.
You know, like Tom Hanks on an island, watch that all day. Matt Damon, The Martian, watch that
Yeah.
all day. He did a good job, Adam Sandler, but it was
Sure.
just very Adam Sandler. Like not that he's being goofy, but it's seems like maybe he'll get better, but it's like it seems like it's like his intro into that type of drama. I don't know if he will get better, but it wasn't a bad movie though.
No.
It just wasn't like Matt Damon's face. You
Yeah,
know?
it was Adam Sandler reflecting, or potentially being forced to reflect on his relationship with his wife, who's on Earth, to which it's dwindled because he's on this space mission that's a part of Czechoslovakia, but then they're also trying to race Korea to this formation outside of the or
You
inside of the
lost
solar
me.
system.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the thing. Like all the other
Exactly.
details that are like what he's trying to get to, that's purple
Ambiguous.
cloud, what it
Yep.
means. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's
Eh.
fluff. The
It's
real thing is just like him and his wife
Yeah.
and Paul Dano's his therapist, basically.
yeah,
And he's just like this being that's old as time almost. And he was just drawn to Adam Sandler's loneliness
yeah.
and was intrigued by him.
And
Yeah.
you could make the argument that it's like, is it him reflecting because he's alone, and is he hallucinating, and is this just his inner monologue, or is it real? Is the spider Paul Dano real, and that's actually helping him? You could make the argument that that's kind of where that it borders.
You
But
never get the answer. They don't. They
Not
don't
really,
give you,
because
like,
he
a
kind
yeah.
of comes in and out of the ship, and I don't know how he does it.
yeah,
Oh, the spider.
the
Or-
spider,
spider.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a point where he's like, "I'm leaving now. I have to go," and then turns the corner, and then he's outside the ship, and I'm like, "Did you go through the wall?"
Yeah, like, how the
I don't know
fuck-
what happened.
I mean,
I didn't
spiders
hear
can
an
squeeze through
airlock.
small holes, but you
He's
know,
a big
it's airtight.
spider.
Yeah, it's a big
So-
ass spider. dude.
And it's a vehicle in space. There shouldn't be any holes.
Yeah.
So you're like,
Right.
I don't know what's going
right.
on.
Yeah. if your spaceship has a hole in it, it's probably
Yeah.
not a good spaceship.
You're fucked.
And they make it a point in the beginning of the movie. They're like, oh, the cameras were down. There's all these
Yeah.
things that like Mission Control can't view. They can't see the spider. He can't ask them like, hey, do you see this thing?
Yeah.
Because at one point he asks, and they're like, sorry, the cameras are down even in that room where that spider is or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of up there with him. But it wasn't bad. So it's a drama.
It's
What would
different.
you What would you give it out of 5 stars?
2.5, 3.
Okay.
Par at best, I think. I mean, it's not Uncut Gems.
Wait, out of 5? So you said?
Yeah, out of
Yeah,
5. Yeah.
5.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
for some reason I was like out of 10. I'm like, dude, it wasn't. It was Rider.
You're like,
Like,
wow, fuck.
Yeah, it was Madam Web. Jeez.
Ooh.
Holy Jesus.
The top grossing
Um,
movie of 2024? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like kind of like average. Like if it was out of 10, it'd be like I was gonna say like 6.5
Yeah.
or something.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
6.5, 7.
3,
But
so 3.
just I like Adam Sandler, and I want to like I want to see him do more serious roles. I like
Yeah.
Paul Dano. It was cool. I do like space sci-fi movies, so it was kind of cool. Like throughout the movie, like Drake was saying, you're questioning, is this real? Is it not real? So there is that. I thought maybe the spider was feeding off him and his like memories, and like in the end, it was gonna turn dark, and it's like, I got what I wanted.
I suck my blood.
Yeah, like, oh, I got all your memories. But it was weird too when the spider talks. You can see his little mouth moving, like,
Oh
"It's
yeah.
okay. It's okay, Adam." And I'm like, that's fucking weird.
It's
And his eyes, he never blinked, and it was fucking creepy, dude. He's like, he's just like, oh yeah, maybe it was your fault.
That's
I'm
very
like,
Paul Dano,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
very Paul Dano.
That's true. Yeah.
It really did fit that spider. Yeah, so great voice acting in that part. But you know, if you have time, check it out. If you enjoy dramas and whatnot, and you wanna,
Yeah.
you watch all the dramas you want to watch, and you want to watch one more, check it out.
Yeah. Plus one drama.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now-
so tell us
Denzel.
about
Let's check out this
Damsel.
comedy called Damsel. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this comedy fantasy. So Damsel is Millie Bobby Brown. That's reprising what you would consider a stereotypical role as a princess in sort of this fairy tale world, but it turns itself on its head when we find out that who she's marrying is essentially a part of a, I guess, cabal that's trying to keep up the facade of this beautiful city and empire or kingdom. But in reality, what they're doing is they're serving a dragon to which they've created this negative situation. The royal family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And by
so-
the end of the
They
movie,
were
they
feeding the
explain
dragon.
exactly,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
explain why and everything
Yes.
like that. But and you know, overall, like for a fantasy adventure movie, and like of course it's like for a specific like age group as well, like
Yep.
and all that. Like it's not a bad movie.
No.
It's just sometimes, even if it's fantasy, there's bits in these movies where you're like, we got to get a little realistic about just the idea of if you're trying to hide from something that
Bruh.
you don't want to get eaten, maybe
Bruh.
like don't yell.
This is Scott and I's number
Scream.
one pet peeve. This character in this movie, whenever she was hurt and she moved, she would scream. We're in a cave, it echoes, and the dragon has super hearing, right? Every time she exerts energy, she's grunting.
She's like,
Every time she's just things you would not do in a cave when you know there's a monster that can hear you, right? Like if she was in the descent, she would have died already.
oh, for sure. There's literally a part where she's hiding from the dragon, and the dragon comes like, you know, like scary movie stuff. Here's the wall. She's here, right?
Sneaking
She's in front of the
around.
wall.
Yeah.
Dragon comes by. She's quiet. As soon as the dragon goes away, she goes, what
the fuck,
And
dude?
you're like, you stupid. You're dead now.
You're
What are you
dead.
doing? Shut
You're
your damn
dead,
mouth.
dude. It was like the direction from the director was like, hey, you know what? Just make noise. Just make a
Louder.
bunch of noise. Louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's away. Scream.
Yeah.
Let
I
out
was
all
only
your
thinking
pain
that.
and anxiety.
Yeah.
I was like, is the director watching these and
Don't.
like, great take. Yeah.
Great take.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that you yelled extra loud there.
Makes so much sense. Really brings volume to the character, literally. Things that were good about it was that it was a very atypical idea of fairy tales as a whole. You do see some character development with the stepmom, and at the end, Millie Bobby Brown ends up calling her mother. You do see the bones of a really cool story. Like if it was a dark fairy tale Brothers Grimm type situation, it would have been super sick. But not to say that it wasn't, but the way that it went was like all of a sudden, and Scott says this the best, all of a sudden she gets out of this thing and she's like, cool, I'm gonna take I just know all the things about the thing, and I'm gonna take revenge, and I'm just gonna be badass when I've never shown that I'm badass, and I'm just gonna dominate. Scott knows
Yeah,
what I'm talking about.
And then she
Yeah, for sure.
does.
There's a
She's
part
just
where
all of a
she gets.
sudden
There's a
goes
part where
John
she
Wick.
actually gets out of the cave. She's like, I made it. And then they're like, your sister's in there. She's like, I'm gonna go back in there. Like, and she like goes back in the cave, and then she's just like a badass off. Yeah, it was just like it's all the stuff that you want. You're like, yeah, I want the character to be a badass now, but like nothing told us that she was ever capable of this, or like she had the knowledge of it. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
like even if as much as you want to be able to do stuff,
Mhm.
sometimes if you don't have training or you never tried it before, there's no way you can succeed at it 100% every time.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
had the best string of luck in a crazy situation. It seemed
For
like.
sure.
But for a fantasy movie, so it is a fun movie. You know,
Yep.
it was just like I think the biggest thing that stood out though, I was like, she's making too much goddamn noise. Like, stop!
That's-
You're gonna die. Like,
yeah. And once that thought gets in your head, there's no way it could get out. You know.
Yeah,
It's just
because-
like, why? Why does she keep doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's trying to
literally, I'm
kill
like,
herself
she
at
did it
this
again. She did it again.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on.
you're doing that the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which can be fun if you know that's what's gonna happen. Now you can just laugh. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
It'd be a fun
definitely
drinking
check
game.
it out though. If
Yeah.
you know, if you're into that.
It's something that I think it works for Millie Bobby Brown, and I think what she's trying to do as like an actress and potentially producer, and what she's putting out, like it works, and it's definitely on brand. I just think there's more depth that could be pulled out of there, and maybe they don't have the availability, or maybe other things are happening, et cetera, et cetera. But like Scott said, it's something that is worth a watch because it is very atypical from what we see in that genre, and it does have some very great ideas and some good points within the movie that kind of make it good. At the same point in time, stop making so much noise in the cave. Stop making so much noise in the cave.
Don't
Right on. All right.
like
well,
if she's with me, I'm ditching her.
Yeah, for 100%.
you throw her back down into another cave or off
like,
another cliff.
You've done this yourself. This is Sparta.
Yeah. You do this to yourself. Right on, guys. Well, yeah, a lot of great stuff that came out over last week, and coming up into this week too. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed this one. There's just so much good stuff out right now. I'm just excited for tomorrow and for the rest of this week. I haven't even yet been able to go to Dune 2. That's still super high on my list. We didn't even get into Masters of Air, which I think we'll have to talk about next week as well. But yeah, man, it's been fantastic. Any final words? Yeah, closing thoughts, closing words, final thoughts. Let's go with that.
Closing thoughts, final words, or final closing thought words would be check stuff out. You never know when things are going to be good, and even if you do find a little bit something that kind of annoys you, it's making you feel something, and you need to be feeling something. You're alive. Do it.
I like it. Damn, Mariko.
Oh, hype.
Hey, that's a good point. Yeah, sometimes I watch movies and I'm like, man, like Uncut Gems, and you're uncomfortable with the whole movie, but you're like, that was an experience.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Live life.
Search for that. Get it in your body. Accept it.
Yes.
All right.
Consent.
Made it weird. Thanks for listening. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you guys are all doing great. And thanks for sticking
it with us.
The Joystick Show. The Joystick Show.